What's going on, guys? You got Quasi here for Quasi Animation Studio and Quasi Media Network. I'm going to show you guys how to use AutoRig Pro and AnimAide. So this is assuming and presuming that you already know how to import your Xenoverse models. All right, so this is a Xenoverse thing. So I'm going to bring in the model that I'm going to use, which is Demigod Asa from my ROD series, which is not, again, I will say one more time, is not a Xenoverse and or Dragon Ball series. Okay, so he has his own wings on and whatnot. I'm not gonna show the textures because his textures are basically red and black. Uh, his wings are even red. All right, so I'm gonna show several things on how you can go about doing this. All right, so you're gonna need AutoRig Pro or Rococo. You can do this with Rococo. I don't use Rococo because you have to log in, and I don't use the internet when I'm using Blender. So anyway, gonna go into AutoRig. Again, you can do the same thing in Rococo. It's the exact same thing. You're gonna go to your target armature, which is this one. And then I'm gonna add a collection in the outliner. I'm just gonna name it Anim Import. Okay. And then so for some reason it says, and I just brought it into the anims. I'm tripping because there was already one there. But anyway, we made a new one. All right, so I'm gonna go to import FBX. So you might not see my thing because I have it on a Blender specific uh, thing. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna bring in a walk. So I'm just gonna bring in a walk. Okay, so when you import, make sure uh, that the animation is on 0, or it could be on 1 because you might not change. Mine is on 0. Okay, so I turn the fake user off. So down here in your, because I have created a second uh, screen down here for the dope sheet. Because if you go back over to the dope sheet and you just go to the dope sheet, right? So I just made it the action editor, and then it'll show your fake user. I turn that off and then rename it to what I want it to be. So in this case, we're gonna go Asa walk one. Well, just Asa walk, okay? And then make it the source armature. I'm gonna hit bone collection. Doesn't exist. But this is what you would do if you really want to make these happen. So what I'm gonna do is I'm coming here and I'm gonna turn his wings off so I can see. All right, I'm gonna slide them back over, and then I'm going to press one on the numpad and get in tight. So I'm going to shift select his bones and go into pose mode, control tab, or you can come up here and change it up here. Okay. All right. So double tap A and you'll get that off the screen, or control A. I mean alt A, not control A. Okay. All right. So what I want to do is click his bone, and then over here I'm going to click the auto sync select. So here it goes to that particular arm, which this arm is his left arm. Now make this real, very, 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 very clear. Okay, the Xenoverse side says it is right. Okay, if it comes in backwards, there's no way to fix it. I've tried. Okay, but it says the helper bone. We don't want this, so we're gonna click till we get to arm one, and then over here in the picker, we're gonna click it. Okay, so understand whatever's on this side is on this side that's left is gonna be right on the Xenoverse side. Okay, and then you do this until you're finished. All right, but I've already done the work, so I'm gonna go on up here and go to my presets. Okay, it's already set. And then where it says pelvis, you want to make sure you set to root. Okay, excuse me. Now, if you want, you can go in and do this part where you would select these parts, right? And then copy them, copy the selected bone rotation. But since it's already in a T pose, I say do not do it with Xenoverse models. It will mess up your rig. And let me show you why. At least it was doing it for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this anyway. Let me show you just to give you a demonstration. See what happened? So we don't want that because then it's not going to animate correctly. All right, so we're going to hit retarget, going to hit fake user because we want Asa to have the fake user or whoever your character is. Boom. So he's in there, right? Okay. So what I tend to do since the imported model is already uh, done, I'll just get rid of it by deleting it completely, coming up to file, going down to cleanup, purge, unused, and hit delete. All right, so now in my case, I already have a pose library for this because if you see his hands aren't exactly correct. Now this is where AnimAide comes in at. So when I lift this up, I'm going to press the period key on the number pad and expand it. I tend to close the summary because I don't intend to care, because whatever I select in here is what's going to only show up there. When I do this, say for instance, if I click one of the fingers, nothing shows up. But if I click the hand, it shows up because there's animation on the hand. However, because the way the hand is set up, I need to correct that. Now, another thing is because the helper bones that you made, the helper bones, there's no, unless you add a secondary control to the bone mapping, you're going to have to change this. So what I do is go up to for the bone helper, okay? Because we don't need the armor parts, that's hidden on my model. So it's there, but it's hidden. But we definitely need the helper, because if you see here, you see this how it's all messed up. We don't want that. We're going to fix that. So up here with pivot, we're going to change that to individual origins, and for orientation local, go to my rotation tool and bring it down. Okay. Now understand, when I do this, it's not going to change. So if I go one, it's not going to go back because it's just by default. So I'm leaving it there. You can keyframe it if you want, but I tend not to. Okay. Uh, Unless I absolutely have to, because it's doing a lot of actions. Now this is where we start doing our AnimAide stuff. So again, I already have my own post library. So here on this particular version of AnimAide, you can come over here and go to Anime Offset and hit on, or you can hit this tab where it says anime offset. So I click it and it's going to turn orange. All right. So now in the animation tab, I forgot that's not on right now. So I want to go to my, I'm sorry, I don't do this here. So what I want to do is I'm going to come up and I'm going to create a split screen. This is what I'm doing now. Okay. I'm going to pose library, because again, I have a pose library for this. And I'm going to go current file because I don't want all that showing up. And then I'm going to go to where my poses are. Now, when I do this, it's going to show me poses down here at the bottom. And I can select what I want. So I'm going to go to hands. Okay, because it's 4.3. All right. Now, the kicker is this, is that, uh, so I can close this because I don't need it. Because as soon as I come in here, that goes away, but it automatically shows up here. Like for instance, it's always here, and I can go straight there. So I'm just gonna go hands. I just want the hands, right? Because it's showing all, and I'm just gonna click hands. Okay. All right. So AnimAide is on, and I'm gonna select both sets of hands, and then here where it shows right here, I have a both is a fist, and then I have a both in their rest pose. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and set that in, and it's set, so it will not change again, and we'll bring that back down. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go to the side here because I noticed that I don't like what the head looks like. And if you come over to your outliner and you have your armature, you have a drop down. Here you show where it shows pose, you can click that and you can actually search for what you're looking for and click. So I'll do that, and what I want to do is go back and animate, and I'm going to bring his head down because I don't want his head up like that, and turn it back off. All right. Okay. So I notice also that the shoulders are sort of cocked forward. I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is select them. AnimAide is still on, and I'm going to hit all Alt G, Alt R. All right, come back, and then I'm gonna rotate them backwards a little. And me, knowing me, I'm gonna bring them down some. So I'm gonna hit G, Z twice, and then look to the front and see what it looks like. All right, so that's more of a natural look. Okay, so let's bring his wings back so we can see them. And now when I press play, he's walking. Let me go down here and go to playback and go to drop frame dropping and follow current frame. I'm gonna turn the audio playback off. All right, cool. So I come over here. It should be where I usually have it. That's cool. All right. And then we're going to press play. All right. So I know it's only 29 frames, so I'm going to go to 29. I'm going to click him. All right, there we go. So what I want to also show you is how to extend that. So we're going to extend it. Okay. So now we're going to go into the animation tab. Now your tab is not going to look like my tab. Make this quite clear. You see how mine look? I have it over here. You're going to probably have the viewport. And so I just changed that to the NLA editor. Okay. And in the LA editor, this tends to be on the include missing LLA. I'm going to turn that off, and I'm just going to go to show only selected. So when I select him, that's what's going to show up, but I have to select a bone for all of that to show up there. Okay, I'm going to expand it, by hitting the numpads period key. Okay, so it's already set, right? All right, so what I'm going to do is push it down. You can push it down up here, or you can push it down here in your action editor. All right, so to do this best, you want to select the pelvis bone. Now, this may be different depending on your model, but for these models, you're going to select the pelvis bone, not the base bone. Okay, and what I want to do is go to the last frame. And where the last frame is, I'm going to hit Shift S2, and now it's going to put my cursor there. Now, watch this. In my NLA, I'm going to select the frame, select the track, and I'm going to add. So we're going to go to add, and we're going to add a track. I'm sorry. Yeah, add track. Track, and we're going to go add above or add. So just going to hit add, okay? Now I have a hotkey for that, which is F. That's my hotkey for it, but nonetheless. So I did that so I can do this. So I'm going to bring it back in again. Let me go ahead and purge that other thing so I don't have to see it. Okay. So it's there, right? All right. So it's already, so because there's a fake user, there's a number 2 next to it. We're going to click that, and now it gives us a new version of it because we don't want that same version. Now in the NLA, we're going to hit Shift S4. Okay. Now if you look here, there's a fake yellow orange line. So hit N on the number on the keypad. Why is it not working? Is it too big or it's not big enough? All right, there we go. It's not big enough. Okay. And we want to go up here to where it says extrapolation and go to hold forward. So now that line is gone. Okay. Now this is where we're doing AnimAide again, right? So we're going to open this up by hitting tab. So you click that particular strip, hit tab, then turn on NLA, and then then you're going to move it there. So it automatically moves it. Okay. Now understand this is going to work just fine. So now we're going to go to the end of that track, which we know is 29 frames. So we're going to go plus 29. Okay. And now when we press play, it'll keep walking. No glitching involved. It'll just keep walking. Okay. Now I'm going to do this one more time. The same thing. Come back in. Same thing. Change it again. We're going to push it down. Remember, we're going to hit 4. So it's going to go selection to current frame, right? Okay. Hold forward. And then I'm going to mute it by hitting H because I need to put the 3D cursor there again with Shift S2. Going to unmute it with H, open it back up, turn on AnimAide, Shift S8, okay? And we're going to turn it back off, close it, and then again, I'm going to add 29 more frames. Okay, so now when I do this, all of the frames are lined up, everything's set, and I can go back to the layout because I want to look at it from there. And there you have it. I'm sorry, I hit the wrong thing. There we go. And it's just going to keep going, okay? Excuse me. Now understand this character model, excuse me, is in FK, forward kinematics. If it was inverse, it would still work the same, but you would have to move the feet to each location, which is not difficult, but we'll get into that in a different video. Okay, so now we have this set like that, right? But let's say you don't want it to be like that. So what you will do is you will select all the bones, hit A, come up to pose, go to animation, and go to bake action. Now it's going to say channels, location, rotation, scale, B-bone, custom. Only thing we want is scale. We just want location, rotation. There's no scale. Okay, you can click scale if you want, that's fine, but I'm just going to turn it off. Okay, so you're going to shift select these. So select location, shift select rotation, and then it's already set to the scenes you have and only selected bones. Click OK. I'm going to wait it out so it's done, and then I'm going to rename it. So this time it's going to be Asa underscore walking 1 because now this is different from the first one. But I'm going to go back to the other one, hear me out, and I'm going to turn it off because it's a remap and I don't want that. Then I'm come up here and purge. Now my scene is clean. Oh, my bad, I forgot because I didn't select. My scene will be clean here in a second when I select all these and delete them. Okay, so now my scene is clean when I purge it. So it's purged, and now my drop down is clean. Okay, so we're gonna push that down and go back in here, and voila, it's set. No worries. And there you have it. Now understand, when you do your bone mapping, you can bone map with anything. Again, you can do the same thing with Rococo. It is free. You can do the exact same thing, but AnimAide is going to help you a lot, especially if your arms come in. Let's say your arms come in and they're like this, but in the character, AnimAide will help you. All I gotta do is turn on AnimAide, and put it back. Like for instance, when he goes to walk, see how it just stays there. But let's say for instance, I go back in, I click all of this here, and let's turn that off, right? And I'm just gonna bring it in as it is. Don't push it down. So it means it's open, right? I'm gonna select this, go to AnimAide by turning it on, and I'm gonna push his arms in. Now hear me out. That's just changed it. It's not going to change from that, right? Okay. However, I want it to be the way it was originally. So I can just go back in AnimAide and switch it. And it'll still do the same thing. It'll still walk whatever way I put it. Okay. That's how AnimAide works. So it's an offset. I hope they help someone. Nothing but love. Holla back.